Richician.
Hey YouTube, Richician84 here, and I am profiling my Earthbound Immortal deck. The way I did this was done in a similar way that Kira Twig did it like a while ago, like some point before the newer support came out in Legendary Duelist 5. So this is probably an outdated version of the deck, but I'm fine with it, to be honest, because I feel like the newer stuff seems to work more towards the Sun Dragon and the Moon Dragon. And I don't know, I feel like that version's just too complicated for me, so I wanted to play something simpler. Even though this deck's probably not as good as others, but you know what, it's still fun, and that's all that matters, and pretty easy to play, as long as it doesn't brick. Anyway, let's get on with the profile. So, I'm actually playing one copy of all 7 of them. Yes, it's risky and bricky, but it's fine. I didn't want to leave any of them out. So, I have Uru, Kakapakapu, Chakuchalua, Kusuru, Kakaraya, Asilapisku, and Rikocharaska. I'm sure everyone knows what they do, but if you're new to the game, or haven't played since before 5Ds for whatever reason, I'll just run over their effects. So they all share a couple of common effects, but they all each have their own unique effects as well. So all of them state that there can only be one Earthbound Immortal on the field at a time, and if there's no field spell on the field, then they self-destruct, basically. It's a pretty huge drawback, but they also have a strength. They can't be selected as an attack target, and they can attack the opponent directly, even though the opponent has a monster on the field. So yeah, that's all the effects that all of them have. Uru's effect is, once per turn, I contribute another monster to target a monster the opponent controls and take control of it until the end of the turn. A Kakapakapu is basically an evil version of Elemental Hero Flame Wingman, basically, where if it destroys a monster by battle, it inflicts damage equal to the destroyed monster's original attack points. So it's going to be doing a ton of damage regardless of whether it's attacking directly or attacking a monster, which makes it one of my 2 favourite ones. Chakuchalua says, where is it? I can inflict damage equal to this half of this card's defense points to the opponent, but if I do, it can't attack in the same turn. And if this is in face-up defense mode, the opponent can't conduct their battle phase. So basically, it's Baguska, only harder to bring out, but easier to overcome than Baguska, as at least it doesn't negate monster effects of monsters in defense, unlike Baguska. Like, that card should not have been a thing. Just stalls out games for purposeless reasons. But as for the burn effect of Chakuchula, I've not used it once. I mean, I was hoping to use it last night in the match against Cookie's Karibo deck to try and avoid the embodiment monsters, but yeah, rather annoyingly, I couldn't change its battle position and was forced to attack them. Oh well. Kusulu is, I'd say, the worst of the 7 and the hardest one to use, basically. I'm not saying it's bad, but just difficult to use. It's basically, if this card would be destroyed by battle, I contribute another monster, and if I do, I halve the opponent's life points. But I don't think there's hardly any way to make that effect happen, because you can't even attack it anyway. So the only situation I can think of where that would work is if I decided to attack into a monster, and then the opponent activates, like, something that activates in the damage step, like Honest, Limiter Removal, or something like that. Other than that, I can't think of any other situation where that effect would be pulled off. So it's just a 2/8 beat stick. Not that there's anything wrong with that, though. Kokoraya is arguably one of the very best ones, because if it's destroyed, except by its own effect, it nukes the field. That's pretty good. Acelapiscu is basically an evil version of Elemental Hero Absolute Zero, but has a burn effect as well. If it leaves the field, except by its own effect, it destroys all the opponent's monsters and inflicts 800 points of damage for each monster that gets destroyed. Which makes it another of the best ones, and my other favourite. So basically the first ones we got in the game are my favourite ones, because these two came out originally in Raging Battle. Then Kusulu and Chakuchalua came out in Ancient Prophecy, one set later, and then the other 3 came out in Stardust Overdrive, my favourite 5D set. And finally, Rakocha Raska. Where is it? It says, when this card is normal summoned, return up to 3 cards I control, or 3 other cards I control to the deck, and make the opponent discard the same number of cards that I returned, and it gains 1,000 attack points for each card discarded by this effect. It may start out at 100, but I can bring it up to 31, making it the strongest one in terms of attack stats. I think I only pulled that off once so far. I guess it's the second hardest one to use, but if it does get pulled off, then you're in good shape. And now for the rest of the monsters to support them. 2 copies of Double Costin, 2 copies of Mizuki, 2 copies of Summoner Monk to basically bring these guys out, and then 3 copies of Apprentice Piper to round up the monsters. Yeah, this was one of Kira Twig's original ideas. Besides Mausoleum of the Emperor, this isn't the easiest way to bring them out. As if it's flipped, I get to special summon a monster from my hand, and if this gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard, I get to special summon a monster from my hand. So if I have a field spell, this, and any Earthbound, I'm in good shape. And that's it for the monsters. On to the spells. We have Earthbound Whirlwind, which is basically dark magic attack for Earthbound Immortals, where it just destroys the opponent's spells and traps. Then Earthbound Geoglyph. The first effect is only ever going to be applied. I don't use the second effect ever. While any level 10 monsters are on the field, this card cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Yeah, that's the only effect that's going to apply, because I don't play any synchros in here. The other effect, if you are interested, is you can treat one synchro monster as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of an Earthbound Immortal, and if a synchro monster is special summoned except during the damage step, I can add an Earthbound Immortal spell or trap from my deck to my hand. Then for other field spells, I have 2 copies of Magical Citadel of Endymion. This is only in here just for the protection, as long as enough spell counters are played. Then 1 Mausoleum of the Emperor. Like, honestly, I don't know why I'm only playing 1. I should be playing more copies of it. Then again, I've not really been in a situation where I needed more than 1, but at the same time, there were times where I would have liked to see it. So maybe I do need to double it or triple it, I don't know. Then 2 copies of Mount of the Bound Creator. They're all level 10, so this gives them protection from effects that target and destroy. Then the Seal of Orichalcos, which also has a one-time protection effect from something that destroys. And then, of course, Terraforming to search out all these field spells. Then Allure of Darkness, Fires of Doomsday, another way to get the Earthbound Immortals out more easily. Monster Reborn, 2 copies of Pot of Extravagance, because I don't care that much about the extra deck. Then Regeki and Twin Twisters. And that's it for spells. On with the traps. So I've got Offering to the Immortals. Only good late game, really, but it's very helpful. Yeah, I have to have 3,000 or less life points to be able to use it. Basically, when the opponent's monster declares a direct attack while I have 3,000 or less life points, I negate the attack, special summon 2 ceremonial tokens, then I get to add an Earthbound Immortal card, Earthbound Revival, or Roar of the Earthbound from my deck. And ceremonial tokens can't be tributed except for the tribute summon of an Earthbound Immortal, and they can't be used as synchro material. That's fine, they're the only high level monsters I need, and I don't play synchros in here. Then 2 copies of Earthbound Wave, which is basically Dark Bribe, but I have to control an Earthbound Immortal. Ultimate Earthbound Immortal, which just simply lets me pop a face-up monster as long as I control a normal summoned or set Earthbound Immortal monster. Then Metaverse, Storming Mirror Force, and 2 Solemn Strikes. And that's it for the main deck. Extra deck is just stuff that's easy to bring out, and it's extra fodder. So we've got Utopia the Lightning, 2 copies of regular Utopia, and Master Key Beetle, because why not? 2 copies of Time Thief Redoer. This seems to be the only deck I play this in, rather interestingly, and it's a generic rank 4. I guess there's not room in any other extra decks that I have rank 4s in. Like, usually my lineup consists of the Utopia package, Honor Arc, and Castell. Just doesn't seem to be room for anything else. Then 2 copies of Light Dragon Adignista, which is also the only generic rank 4 I seem to play in here. Interesting. Then Tornado Dragon. I'm pretty sure I play it in another deck. I think I have it in my Blackluster Soldier deck as well. I don't know. Kachi Koichi Dragon, which I also don't play in my other rank 4 decks, but that's fine. And Cowboy for Game. And then I've got 2 copies of 2 Link monsters, Nightmare Phoenix and Wee Witch's Apprentice. I could run a bunch of synchros in here, including the Sun Dragon and the Moon Dragon, if I went for the build with the newer stuff. But this is just easier for me to play. Because like I said, I don't really understand how to use the newer stuff fully, or I just didn't look into it. Anyway, that's it for the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and a comment, share and subscribe if you haven't subbed already. Even though this has to be like one of the only two weakest decks I have, so to speak, the other one being my legendary knights. Anyway, thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Richician YouTube channel.